and we're able to give you a lot of great information on advanced techniques for using your Placester website. Now, we are going to be making a lot of assumptions today, and that is that this is an advanced workshop. So we're talking about things that are a little bit more advanced. So we're going to be assuming a few things, like that you already know how to log into your Placester account, that you've already set up your domain name, and quite a few things that will make it hard to continue if you've not done that. So that being said, we do have a 5-minute video where you can set up your Placester website in just 5 minutes. And it's located here, brandco.com/Placester-5. So we're going to be assuming that you've got all this stuff set up. If you have not, don't stress yourself out. We will answer any questions at the end. And we're also recording this webinar. So if this is kind of out of order for you and your business, this seems a little bit too advanced for you, don't stress about it. Take notes on what we're talking about today. And if you do have to go back in time a little bit and work on some of these other setup options, certainly can do that after the webinar. So don't freak out if this is a little bit too advanced for you. So I'd like to kind of go over the topics that we're going to be covering today. And that number one is going to be lead capture. Very important. You know, when we survey real estate agents about what they use their website for and what they're hoping to get out of it, the number one thing that they respond with is lead capture. And I'm pretty sure everybody on this call would agree that lead capture is super important to their business and one of the main reasons why they have a website. So we're going to cover that in an advanced level. We're also going to be talking about the Google Webmaster. And I'm kind of old school here. They call that the Google Search Console now. So I apologize to those folks that maybe have not been around the block for a while and haven't seen the term Webmaster. It's the same thing as Google Search Console. We're going to be talking about that and how to leverage that in your business and why it's more important now than ever to make sure that you've got your Google Webmaster tool set up properly. We're also going to be talking about Google Analytics, the tracking tool to understand who's coming to your website and what they're doing there, so that you can make better, more informed decisions on how your website works and basically be smart and intelligent about the things that you add to your website. We're going to talk about stickiness in a couple of ways. A lot of energy is focused on driving traffic to your website, and that's great. But equally important is actually getting those people that do arrive on your website to actually stay there. So we're going to be talking a lot about stickiness today. And then I know we're kind of conflicting with the Career Growth Initiative webinar that's going on right now, but how this all fits into that model. I think there's going to be a renewed focus and energy towards websites and how important they are in your value proposition and building your wall of value so that your clients understand why they should be using you as their real estate agent, listing with you, using you as your buyer's agent, because you're the neighborhood expert and really building that value in a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week storefront. And that's your website. People at 3 o'clock in the morning, if they're thinking about buying a home, wherever you may be, they can search the web, and you've got a 24/7 salesperson there ready to answer their questions, and that's your website. So how all of this stuff plays into the new initiatives. So with that being said, some of you may or may not have met with me before. My name is Ken Granger, and I'm the technology coordinator for dozens of offices, Keller Williams offices nationwide. Was the director of technology for the North Florida region from 2007 to 2013. Was on the Agent Technology Council at KWRI from 2008 to 2013, and I was the founder of Brandco. So, I've been around the system for quite a bit, and I'm hoping that you'll leverage all of the things in my knowledge to make your business better. A lot of what we're going to be doing today is going to be live, so we're actually going to go ahead and close out of the slideshow and the screenshot here, and I'm going to be sharing my live desktop with you. Now, that being said, this is a live demonstration, so usually when we're in a live webinar, that's when the internet decides to go down or pages seem to load slow. So just a little asterisk on that. We are going to be talking about being live on our website. Now, what I want to talk to you about first is this idea of lead capture. We talked about that being the most important piece of your website, and that's gathering new leads. And there's a couple of different ways that you can capture leads on your website. The most important or the most prominent, I would say, lead capture option on your website is the property search. I'm going to go ahead and just view this live site over here, and we'll take a look at just a kind of out-of-the-box Placester site that we've not done any work with. And you can see here that front and center is property search, and that's because almost 80% of consumers that are on the web looking at real estate websites, they're looking for property information. So on all of the Placester themes, this one in particular, property search is front and center, and that's just because that's where people go. People are looking for properties. That's where they're more likely to convert is on this property search. So if we take a look at that, and I don't know if IDX is set up on this website. If it's not, we'll jump over to another screen. Let's see here. Looks like it's not. We're going to jump over to this other screen here so we can take a look at that. We'll go back here and we'll just start a property search. So for example, if we're looking in Orlando and we wanted to find a home in Baldwin Park, we could just type in here Baldwin Park, and it's going to suggest for me, just like Google does. If you start a search on Google, it's going to say, hey, do you want to search for Baldwin Park, Orlando? So it's pretty cool. It's predicting what consumers would likely type into their search box. So this is what's called the Omnibox. And this is something that's an upgrade for most agents. Folks that are with Keller Williams actually get that as part of their technology package. So this is the Omnibox, and it's got a suggestive search in there. So it even suggests maybe if you want to find a 3 or a 4 bedroom home or in a certain price range, it can find that for you. So when we do a property search from the home page, it's going to bring us into the search results. Now, this can be refined by price. They can, zoom down by bedrooms and bathrooms. This is pretty wide open at this point. And you'll notice here, if we come down to one of these listings, let's find one with actual photos. One of these listings here, as soon as we arrive at what they call the property details page, we've got the opportunity to lead capture. And it might be a little bit difficult to see, but there's a little gold star up top here. And basically what that's insinuating is that your visitor can engage and save this as a favorite. And as soon as they do, it's going to pop up a sign-up form for them to sign up and save that as their favorite. So it's a pretty normal behavior for people to do that. So we've got that, right on the top of the page here, the opportunity to save as a favorite. As we scroll down the page, you can see we've got the opportunity to request a showing. I love the live internet here. Request a showing. Further down, there's a contact form over on the right, so we can calculate mortgage, and then we can get in touch if we choose to do that. And as you can see, there's a lot of great information on this page about schools, other properties in the area with similar criteria. So this is the most likely page for a consumer to lead capture. So what I want to talk to you about are the lead capture options. And with your standard account, you actually get just really on or off options for lead capture. So I'm going to assume, like I said, that you already all know how to log in here. So we'll see here on the left-hand side that we're already logged into our Placester account. And towards the bottom of this section here, underneath More, it says Lead Capture. And this is where you can control how you want to capture leads. And the basic version has 2 options. You can passively capture leads, which basically means that consumers can go and look at all the properties on your website without having that pop-up that I showed you just a couple of minutes ago, which means that if they wanted to become a lead, they would have to push the star or fill out a contact form, something along those lines. And that's actually a pretty good thing to offer your clients. Most of the real estate websites out there do allow people to search and see all the properties that they want to see without charging them for their contact information. So that's what passively capture leads means. And that means that the person actually really wants to talk to you. So the type of lead that you're going to get when you're passively lead capturing is going to be a much more dedicated, responsive, interested lead. Now, the other option that you can do, and your e-agency, by the way, was mostly passively lead capture. Your market leader, on the other hand, or your Idx website, was fairly aggressive in lead capture. You can only view a property or 2 before it would pop up and really force you to register in order to continue. So that is an option here. You can turn on this aggressive lead capture, and basically what will happen at that point is, in order for them to view properties, they're going to get that pop-up window. And they have to give you your contact information, their contact information, in order for you to be able to, or in order for them to be able to continue, which is great for you because you're getting leads. Now, the bad thing is it doesn't really verify that what the information that they're putting in there is accurate. So, they could put Mickey Mouse and Mickey Mouse at, no way you're getting my email address.com, and it will allow them through. So if you aggressively lead capture, you'll probably get fewer leads, or if you are getting those leads, there might not be as qualified. You might be getting bogus information. So those are really your 2 options there. Now, something that's really important for everyone to look at on their setup is that they come down under this lead capture setting to lead forwarding. And this is really important if you want your leads to show up in your Idx dashboard. So if you're with Keller Williams and you want your leads to show up in Idx, you need to make sure that your Idx email address is set up here in lead forwarding, okay? And that's usually a KW Realty address. So if we put, and for this agent, it's Steve Close at kwrealty.com. Now, that will force all leads and all communications and all emails and all forms that are filled out on the website to then show up in Steve's Idx account. Now, you probably want to get emails in other places as well. You might have an assistant. You may have, you want it to come to your phone. You might have a hotline. You may have a buyer's agent that you want these to go to. So you can add additional email addresses here. So if we wanted a copy to go to me, we can just put another email address in here. We're just separating these by commas. So very important that you come in here and you get these set up properly. So we'll just leave Steve Close at kwrealty.com. So you can put any number of email addresses that you want in here. Now, I know some people use third-party CRMs. For example, Follow Up Boss or some of those others. You can put your email address from that service inside here as well, and the leads will funnel over into that CRM. So this is a great way for you to get your leads off the website distributed to the different vendors that you'd be using for your CRM. So that's the basic lead capture. I'm going to go ahead and save that here. We'll leave that on passive. And I want to show you what the advanced lead capture would look like if you were to set this up with one of the Placester upgrades. They've got what they call a pro site. And basically what that does is it gives you a suite of features that we're going to talk about a couple of those today, but a suite of features that kind of takes your website to the next level. I think for 80 or 90% of the agents out there, you can do very well with that passive or aggressive lead capture. For some of you, especially if you're in a niche or you're working in a market that's a little bit more particular, you may want to look at advanced lead capture. And you'll see here that we've still got passively and aggressively capture leads, but we also have now options for actively and custom lead capture. So we can get very granular about when that pop-up form comes up and when we force, for lack of a better term, our visitor to lead capture. So in this case, you can see we could do passively, aggressively. The middle step here is after viewing 5 property details page, visitors must submit a contact form or register on your website to view more. So this is kind of a middle of the road lead capture, and that's something that could work in certain markets or certain demographics. When I say certain demographics, if you're working with very niche properties or certain luxury markets or certain kind of more eclectic kind of demographic, they may or may not want to provide their contact information to view different properties. So you're going to have to play with this. And it's not something that I can give you a one sheet that says if this, then that. This is something that you're going to have to play with and see what works best for your business. So you can see here we've got those 3 canned options, and then we've got the option over here on the right for custom. And this is where it gets really cool because you can get very granular on how you lead capture on your website. And this particular functionality was not available on any of the previous technologies, the e-agency or the market leader stuff. You didn't have the option to get this granular with how you were getting your leads in there. Now, it's pretty interesting how they've got this broke down. And you can choose after a certain number of site visits. So let's say, for example, you've got a visitor that's been coming to your website for 2 or 3 days. Maybe on the 4th day, they can search as much as they want on days 1 through 3. But by the 4th time they come back to your website, you really think that that person, you've built enough value in that relationship, they're obviously finding value in your website. You can say, I would want to lead capture this person after the 4th visit to my website. So that would be a great way to allow people to search for free, get as much as they can consume in any one sitting, but the next time they come back to your website, it's going to pop up and suggest that they should lead capture. So that's one great way to do it. Another option is to require or request lead capture after a certain amount of time on your website. So let's say, for example, we want them to consume maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes worth of material on our website. And at that point, we feel like, hey, they've really invested time in here. It's going to be okay for me to ask for their email address and phone number. Well, you could say after 10 minutes, show that lead capture form. So, if they're watching a blog or watching a video or reading a blog, it's not going to pop up in the middle of their activity, but the next time that they click on another link or they click over to another property, it's going to ask them to lead capture. So certain number of minutes on your website. Now, page views is a little bit different than what we were talking about earlier. Remember up top here, we were talking about after 5 property detail pages. Page views is after any page view. So you may want to allow them to view up to 3 or 5 pages on your blog. And then after they get to that 6th page, then it would force a lead capture. So that would be what page views are. And if you want, you can actually say a certain number of page views on a particular type of page. So if you want them to be able to view as many detail pages as you want, but only do 1 or 2 or 3 searches, then you could say after 3 page views on a search page. So that's how this works. You get really granular in controlling how and when you're going to try and request registration from your visitor. The reason why I was saying request here is we're not required to force them. You'll see this checkbox right here says allow the contact form to be dismissible. So this is an additional kind of get out of jail free card or an escape button that if you do pop this form up and the consumer doesn't want to give you their contact information just yet, they could actually just click the little X box and continue on their journey and hopefully lead capture at a point when it's more appropriate to them. So this is the idea of advanced lead capture. It gives you a whole lot of customization options about how and when to capture your lead. And just like we were talking about before on the basic lead capture, there's an opportunity here for you to enter your email address on this particular area here of where you want those to go. And again, you can put multiple emails in there, all separated by a comma. So that's the buyer side. Like I told you earlier, most of the consumers, most of the visitors to your websites are going to be buyers. And if you've been around Placester for a while, you probably noticed that there's not a seller's lead capture form. How many folks on the call, just use the chat window there, how many folks on the call would like to capture seller's leads, listing leads? Just type in the question box there. Okay, you guys can obviously see it because I'm seeing lots of people that are just saying, duh, of course. Yes, you all want to capture seller's leads, and that's actually not natively built into Placester. And I'm going to show you a hack. We all know kind of life hacks, we've heard the word hack before, of how we can get a seller's lead capture form inside of our Placester website. And what I'd like to do is show you a third-party tool. It's called Woo-Foo. And when we send out the video, I'll make sure that I'll give you the link to this, but it's W-U and then Foo, F-O-O. And what Woo-Foo is an online forms company or forms tool that basically will give you free forms that you can put inside of your website. So I'm going to go ahead and get logged in here. And thankfully, it remembered my username and password because I probably wouldn't. And the idea here is that you can create a free account at Woo-Foo. They'll give you up to 3 forms that you could create, and you could then embed this form on your website. So I want to show you what I've done here for my form that I've called How Much Could You Sell Your Home For? You know, a lot of times we'll use terms like CMA or market analysis or all that kind of stuff. We should talk like our consumers are typing into Google. How much can I sell my home for? Is a great idea to name your form because it's a good match to what a consumer would actually type into Google. And you can see here that I created this form in Woo-Foo, and I can drag over certain different types of categories. Some of these are already set up for me, like name and address. And you'll notice that I've separated the form into 3 different sections. And this is a multi-step form. And the reason why I do this is because I want to build investment of my visitor. I want them to feel like they're putting some time and effort into my website so that when I ask them for their contact information, they're more likely to give me the real deal. So you'll notice that my form does not start with, you know, name, email, phone number. My form starts with their physical address. And I want to get as much information here as I possibly can so that I can give them accurate information when it comes out. And you'll see here I've got address, address to, city, state, zip, country. This is one field here over on Woo-Foo called address. And the reason why I'm using this one is because you're only allowed in the free version 10 different fields. Well, this only counts as 1. So that's why we're doing that. So we're just using their address. Then I say, tell me information about the property. So that's step 2, and we can see that down here. I'm asking for bedrooms and bathrooms. Now, I know you all know that you can get the bedrooms and bathrooms from the MLS or from your CMA tool, but again, this is just building their investment in filling out this form. Lots of little micro investments is going to equal a much bigger investment for you when you finally get that lead capture. And the third step over here you'll see is submit. And if we scroll down here, we'll see the submit section now finally asks for their first, last, email, phone number, etc. So this gives us the opportunity then at this point, we know where they live, we know a little bit about the house. Of course, we're going to go and research and do some more information, get some more information on it, but now we also have all of the contact information we need to consider this a highly qualified lead. So that's Wufoo. I've created this form here. It only takes 10 minutes or so to do that. I'm going to go back over to what these forms look like, and I'm going to show you how you would then embed this in your Placester website. Now, you can have up to 3 of these forms for free, and I think they will allow you to have 100 captures before they charge you, before you have to get a paid account. So if you're getting more than 100 lead captures on your listing information or CMAs, then you would probably have to get an upgraded account here. But that is a good problem for all of us to have if we have 100 or more seller lead captures in the course of a month. Now, there are a few ways to embed your form. The first one here is with JavaScript. Unfortunately, this will not work inside of Placester, but the iframe will. So all we need to do actually is take this information right here. You see that it automatically, as soon as you click on it, highlights everything. You push this button right here to copy the code, and boom, that code is now copied into your clipboard. And if we come over to Placester, what we can do, I'm going to go ahead and just ignore those setting changes that I was going to make. What we can do when we come over to Placester is we can go and create a new page on our website. So by default, they give you several different options for your different pages that you can put on there. We've talked about those in some of the previous webinars. This one, we're going to actually make our home value form. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a new page here. I'm going to call the page home value. I know in some markets you're not allowed to say value, you have to say worth or something like that, so make sure that you're compliant with your state. And then I'm just going to go ahead and paste that information in here. Now remember, over in Wufoo, I grabbed the iframe, I came over to Placester, I created a new page, and now I'm going to place it in there. Right below that, excuse me, it says, would you like to add this page to my menu? I'm going to go ahead and just say okay. I'm going to save that, and it's possible that my menu might be too big, so if this goes on a second line, forgive me, but we should see right now up at the top here, this change over to have home value, and sure enough, it does. So now we see, if we click on this, we're going to have our Wufoo form embedded right in our website. So how much would your home sell for? We've got property address, property type. So if I fill this out, and I'm going to hit next page, it's going to continue on this journey that we talked about before, all the way through the submission. Now, what's great about a multi-step contact form, and this is important, if you have been tuned out a little bit, this part here is really important, so pay attention. Even if the person does not complete the entire form, we know their address. So we can send them a postcard or a mailing, and we have a way to get in touch with them because they submitted their physical address first. So even if they bail by the end of this, you've got some contact information where you know that person is possibly interested in selling their home. So this multi-step contact form is very important. The other thing that's great about this, and the reason why we suggest Wufoo forms as opposed to a couple of the others, is that they're responsive. So if your consumer were to be pulling this up on a mobile device, you'll see that the form responds to that any device that it's on. So as I'm dragging this window super skinny like it were on your iPhone, you still have a really great experience for that visitor. So this is Wufoo, W-U-F-O-O, and this is a way for you to get your contact forms for sellers into your website in a multi-step so that you can get a really good lead capture rate there. All right, so that's lead capture stuff. We're going to leave some space for questions at the end. So if you have questions about that, we're certainly going to make sure that we have space for that. We're going to keep chugging through, and now we're going to be talking about how we can play nicely with Google. Now, I don't know if you noticed this before or not, but when you're looking at your main login here, when you log in through or log in into Placester, you're going to see when you come to the site section, hopefully, we'll refresh the page here and see how we do. Gosh, we're just striking out. Let's try this one. We'll go back to sites here. All right, so you'll see here, this one, we have multiple websites in there, but you'll notice each one of these has these links called a sitemap. Now, sitemaps are really important for your search engine optimization, for Google to find you. Now, we've noticed even without folks doing this next step that we're going to talk about, that they get some of their pages indexed. But if you want to be highly successful in getting your website found and indexed, particularly in Google, you'll want to pay attention to this whole idea of sitemaps. So what I want to do is show you what a sitemap looks like. And you can click this on your own Placester installation. And what you'll see is your domain name, whatever that happens to be. And then it's going to bring you to the page sitemap_index.xml. Now, you do not need to be logged in order to be able to do this. So you can do this just on any browser. This address is publicly accessible, so everybody can see this. But what I want you to see is that this particular sitemap index has all of your posts, all of your pages, all of your areas. So all the content that you created, there's a sitemap for each one of those categories, for lack of a better term. And then every single property in the MLS. So this is super powerful because this sitemap gives Google a map to be able to find every single listing in the MLS. And every time that Google comes back here, this sitemap is going to be current and it's going to show all of the new properties that are for sale. So this gives you like a living, breathing kind of directory of your website that makes Google absolutely loves it. So it's called a sitemap. And what we're going to be talking about now is Google Webmaster tools. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. Basically, in order for this to work, you actually have to verify your site with Google. And what that's doing is it's giving, Google will give you a code that you put on your website right here under site verification that will tell Google that you have permission to submit a sitemap. So no one else could submit a sitemap on your behalf because they don't have permission to do that. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump over to Google. And we're going to go to Google Webmaster Tools. So I usually just go to webmaster.google.com. And that actually redirects me over to the login here. Now, like I said, they did rename that over to Search Console, so we'll probably start to see that more and more coming into things, but it still loads up at Webmasters for whatever reason. And you can sign up with any Google account. It's my recommendation that you use your kw.com. That way you've got it all under one single sign-on. I'm going to go ahead and get signed in here. And what we'll see is all of my properties inside of here. Okay. Now, I've already created a search Orlando Homes, which is the website that we're looking at right now. So I'm going to just put in just a generic domain name to show you what this would look like. So you may have nothing in your Google Search Console when you first log in. It's totally okay. All you have to do is hit this red button in the upper right-hand corner to add a property. And it's going to ask you, what is the property? Now, one thing that agents sometimes do when they're in here, you'll see the example says HTTPS. Well, that's for secure. Placester websites don't have an HTTPS. They're just HTTP. That doesn't mean that they're insecure or there's a problem with them. It's just a different technology. So you do not put in the S. So we did a video on the Webmaster tools a while back, and we had lots of folks that are saying it's not working for me. 9 times out of 10, they were putting the S in there. So in your case, you're going to put your domain name, http://. Now, at the beginning of this call, I told you that we were assuming some things, that you had your domain name set up. So when you're doing this, we're assuming your domain name set up, and the domain name that we're going to use here is the one that you registered with GoDaddy or wherever you happen to register your domain names. So we might have www.isellhomes.com. Not one of our domains, but I just want to kind of give you an idea of what you would put in there. So that's how it would be set up. http://www. whatever your domain name is.com. I'm going to go ahead and hit add here. And what Google's going to do is it's going to ask me now to verify my website. And there are some options on how to do this. It's going to say, would you like to upload an HTML file to your website? You can't do that on Placester. So what you need to do is go over to alternate methods. And then you'll see one here called an HTML tag. And that's the one that we want to use. You'll see here that we've got copy the meta tag below and place it into your site's homepage. This should go at the end of the head tag, a bunch of garbage you don't need to know. All you need to know is that what you need to copy is inside these quotes right here. That's it. So this strange number is your verification. So remember when I told you over on Placester we had to do a site verification, that's what goes in right here. So you can see that Placester already has all of the other stuff. All of this stuff's already in there. All you need is this piece right here. So when you place that inside of here and save it, Google will be able to verify that site. You'll push this red button here to verify, and then all of a sudden you'll have access to now manage the Webmaster tools for your website. So we're going to go ahead and pretend like we did that, and that would be property not verified. That's okay. We're going to pretend like we did that, and now we would have our domain name and our property or our website in our list of properties here. So this one that we're working on right now is searchorlandohomes.com, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So we'll see here all kinds of activity and information on what's going on our website after we get our sitemap submitted. So on the left-hand side here, you're going to see crawl and then sitemaps. Now what's really cool about this is once we submit our sitemap to Google, Google's going to come back to our website a lot and pretty much work through that entire list every time it comes by and start to index all of those pages for you. So this is actually really, really powerful. And all you have to do, just like we were creating the property, hit the red button in the upper right-hand corner, and then it's going to ask you for your sitemap URL. Now everyone's sitemap URL is exactly the same. It's sitemap_index.xml. You're just going to copy that and paste it right inside here. That's it. Okay, that will give you a submission of your sitemap to Google. Now, you may notice as we get into some of the search dashboard here, some error messages and some warnings, and that's going to be completely normal because the dynamic or the database, the data and the sitemaps are so dynamic, properties are going to come and go, and Google will find some errors, meaning that it goes to a property that was there before and it's not there today, and that's going to be completely normal. In this case, we can see that there were 99 warnings of that, meaning that Google came there and the page didn't exist anymore. And that's just going to be par for the course as it comes to your Google Search Console. So you can see the indexing status. So we had a total of 13,297 pages indexed. Now I want to point out that this website launched right around the first, it was in the first or second group. So it launched the early part or mid-April, and we can see that it went from pretty much no indexing prior to all the way up to 13,297 pages in the Google Index. And that's because it's leveraging the MLS. So this is really, really powerful, really good stuff. Now, if you search your website and it has a low page count, likely the submission didn't go in. So let's take a look at how you can see how well your site is indexing. If you go over to Google and you type in site : and whatever your domain name is. In this case, we were looking at searchorlandohomes.com. You'll see how many pages are in the index right there, about 13,300. Okay, so pretty cool stuff. Now I want to show you something. This is live, so this might screw up and maybe prove me wrong. But remember, Search Orlando Homes had 13,300. Search Orlando is an e-agency website that we converted, has 3,400. So we can see that submitting the sitemap on Placester actually generated 10,000 more pages in the Google index than it did on e-agency. And this is one of the super powerful pieces of having your new Placester site set up, is that the entire MLS is indexable. So this is really, really good stuff. So please, I encourage you, submit your sitemaps to Google. None of this would be possible if the indexing would not be possible at the level that it is without that sitemap being submitted. And I can promise you the reason why the e-agency doesn't have the same result is because Google doesn't have a nice sitemap to follow. So hopefully you follow that, and this is something that you'll get set up. This is the Google Search Console or Google Webmaster tools. Now, while we're still talking about Google, there's another really powerful tool inside of Google that's called Analytics. And on Placester, that's indicated or referenced here under site tracking. So I want to show you what this looks like. It's actually really simple. Basically, the idea here is that Google will track every single visit to every single page of every single person that comes into your website. And with that information, along with that person's IP address, it can start to tell you profiles of the people that are coming into your website. So for example, we can see when people come back, we can see how many pages they went to, we can see how many minutes or seconds they were on each page or individual pages. We get so much great data by having Google Analytics set up. And this is completely free. So you need to set up Google Analytics. If you don't have it on there, this is about 5 minutes or so to get set up, and it's going to give you a whole lot of great data. So let's do this. We're going to jump over to Google again. and we're going to google.com/analytics. And just like before, I suggest you log in with your My KW account. That way it's, zoom out here, big. Log in with your My KW account so that it is all tied to the same username and password. I'm going to log into my Google Analytics here. There is a premium version. I don't think there's a whole lot of value to the premium version right now. I think you can get a lot done with just the main version. So we're going to look at Search Orlando, which is one of the websites that we talked about before. And we start to see a lot of cool information here once we have the Google Analytics tracking information on here. We can see how many visits they had each day, how many users, how many pages per visit, time on site, bounce rate. We can see a lot of good information. Now, a lot of times this can be information overload. This is not something that I expect for you to look at on a weekly basis. It's probably something that you should do maybe monthly. And you'll get a really good snapshot of what's going on your website if you check out your Google Analytics on a monthly basis. It's pretty simple to set up. Just like before, we do have to tell Google the name of the website that we're adding to this Google Analytics. You probably will not have any accounts in here if this is the first time that you're using it, okay? So you may or may not have additional accounts, but basically what we can see here is that we've got all of these properties for this particular agent. At the bottom it says add a new property. If this is the first time that you're doing this, you would only have the option to add a new property. And here we go. It asks us a few questions in order to get our tracking code that we're going to put over on Placester. So we're going to put our website name. This is not publicly available. So you can say this is my Placester website. And you might want to do that to keep track of e-agency or market leader or Placester separately so you can see what's going on. And then what is important is that you put your domain name here. So www.mydomainname.com. And it asks you an industry category. You can put real estate in here if you want to. You can put restaurants in there if you want to. I don't think it really matters. And then this is important if you want to have good tracking of time. You can put in here your time zone. So we can put Eastern time if we wanted to do that, if we're in Eastern time, and then we'll, all of the times will be set by that. So once you push this Get Tracking ID, it's going to give you what I call a UA code, right? So there's a bunch of garbage here. Computer programmers probably understand what that is, but all you need is this tracking code right here, this UA code. You copy that and paste it over into your Placester. All right, so that's it. It's super simple to get that done. So what I want to do real quick is I want to show you some value. As long as you promise not to sit there and stare at Google Analytics all the time, I want to show you something pretty cool if I can get over here. What I want to do is find the Search Orlando Homes website. Search Orlando Homes all site data. Perfect. So again, we can talk about the visitors, the activity on the website, all of that kind of stuff. One of the really neat things that Google Analytics has inside there is real time. So if you're on a computer, if this is going to distract you from the webinar, don't do it. But if you can, open up another browser window and visit the website searchorlandohomes.com. Searchorlandohomes.com. And there's about, I don't know, 30 of you right now that seem to be listening. So let's see if we can get some people over to that URL, searchorlandohomes.com. In fact, I'll get it started. This is the fun of live data on the internet. There we go. We start to see some people that are coming in the website. That's obviously me. That means the other 30 of you are not going over to searchorlandohomes.com. But basically what this will do is it'll show you live traffic of who's coming. There we go. We got somebody from New England. And now if we start to go to different pages, I'm on the Idx page, for example. If I go over to the blog, we'll start to see some of these people then now, going from the Idx page over to the blog page. So this is pretty cool to keep track of what's going on your website. Now, if you have a very busy website, you can have this up in your office somewhere maybe, and people can see what kind of traffic or activity is going on your website. So this is a really neat tool. Somebody just logged in from the middle of the state. Columbine looks like. So it's not 100% accurate. We're not going to get your actual address, but it's pretty darn close. I'm in Orlando. We got somebody that just came up in here from Long Beach. So this is pretty cool stuff. So this is what's called real-time analytics, and we can see all kinds of cool stuff about where these people are coming from. Now, on a real-time basis, that's not really important, but if we're looking at all the traffic that's coming into our website, we can see where they came from. And what's neat about this is we can see traffic that was direct traffic, like if you all just typed in search Orlando homes, that would be direct traffic. Organic search, if they came in from Google, a referral from another website, social, etc. Now this is just our demo account, so there's not a whole lot of stuff going on in there, but this is powerful stuff. If you want to see where your money is being spent and how it's being used and if it's actually working, Google Analytics is going to tell you that. Now, you can put Google Analytics on most websites, almost all websites, but here, this is really, it's free intelligence that goes really easy inside of your Placester. So it's not like something that you have to put any special coding into. It's just put that information in there, that UA code, and all of a sudden they'll start tracking this. This will track the minute that you put it on there. You don't have to wait for this to catch up. The Google sitemaps we're seeing can take several days, up to a week, maybe more, in order for you to start indexing at a high number. But this Google Analytics is instantly. As soon as you push that save button over on your Placester site here, you put your UA code and hit save, your Google Analytics is tracking. Now, again, I don't expect that you would go into here every day and see what's going on in your Google Analytics. The dashboard, kind of the main overview of your website, you can email to yourself. See that little email button that I pushed there? So from Ken Granger to K Granger. Any of these reports that you want to see, I want to see that as a PDF because I like the cool colors and the pretty charts and graphs. I can have that sent to me weekly, monthly, quarterly. I suggest you have it sent to you monthly on the first of the month, and then you just say, Ken, check out your analytics. And then you don't have to log in here anymore. So once a month, you're going to get a nice report about how your website is doing. So that's Google Analytics. Now, there are a couple other plugins, or not plugins, options inside here for conversion tracking. We're not going to cover that on this webinar, but we will talk about that in a future one. But this will give you a whole lot of information about what's going on in traffic into your website. So we've now covered lead capture, we covered Google, and we covered Webmaster tools and Google Analytics. I want to talk to you for a minute about the stickiness of your website. Now, a lot of what we do is drive traffic to our site, whether that's through social media campaigns or pay-per-click advertising or search engine optimization or our business cards and print materials and flyers that we mail people and Craigslist ads and all of those things that we do to drive traffic to our website. And then a lot of times we really don't focus on what's actually there at our website. And we spend hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars and countless hours bringing traffic there, and then we don't actually get that traffic to convert because our website sucks. And I want to talk to you about some of the ways that you can improve that so that when you do actually get traffic to your website, you're much more likely for those folks to convert. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to show you the map-based property search from Placester. Now, the example of the site that we used a little bit earlier for Search Orlando Homes has the Omnibox that we talked about, and I think we did Baldwin Park. Yeah, there we go. It has a map-based property search. And you'll notice over here on the left-hand side that as if we start zooming around the map here, that the criteria over on the right is going to change. The listings over on the right here will change as we zoom around in different parts of the map. So this is a map-based property search. And actually, if you look at most of the major real estate portals, the Realtor.coms, the Trulias, the Zillows, they all have map-based search. And I think consumers expect that you're going to have a map-based search. Now, that was an upgrade on eAgency. It is an upgrade on the Placester site as well. To get this map-based search, it's part of what they call their Pro site. And if you do not have the map-based search, this is what your search would look like. You would still have a map there, but you really can't control and pinch and zoom and get around all of the listings as well as if you have the map-based property search. So you'll see here, this is just an example. Unfortunately, I didn't have an Orlando one to show you, but this is somewhere in Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So you'll see it will be more grid-based in your property search. Now, this is kind of the basic version, and you all have this. If you wanted to upgrade to the map search, it is required that you go to the next package up, which they call their Pro site. So this is something that makes your website stickier because your visitor is much more likely to interact with the map. They zoom into things, they check things out. Obviously this is an area that has a lake, so they can see how close the home is to the lake. So it really gives them a good idea of what's going on in their home search. So this tool I would highly suggest you all look at, and that's getting the map upgrade for you to property search. Now, I know you've noticed, or you may have noticed in a couple of the sites that we've been looking at here, these sites have been refreshed. And one of the great things about the new Placester platform is they've got a new template. I don't know if y'all remember the e-agency stuff. It just was starting to look dated. And obviously the new Placester websites look a heck of a lot better. In fact, I think we had one of the templates up here a couple minutes ago. It's probably this one over here. It's more modern looking. But the challenge with this is that all 140-some thousand agents now will have the exact same website. They will look exactly the same. So, your value proposition really needs to be that you stand out. I mean, if you're a marketing person and a marketing expert and people are trusting you to market their most expensive property or most expensive investment, your website looking like every other is going to be kind of a disconnect from what you're trying to communicate to them. So many of the websites that I've been showing you in the demo here have been refreshed, where we go in and basically create a custom theme or a custom skin for your site. And that's what we've done here. On the Jeanette DeLuco, for example, this website has been refreshed. One of the nice things here is that obviously we can customize it to your brand. If you don't have a brand yet, we help create that identity and that brand. And by the way, you have a brand. If you think you don't have a brand, then your brand is that I don't know about my brand. Your brand is I have inconsistent brand, right? So everyone has a brand. Whether you know it or not, you are communicating to your prospective clients and referrals and visitors to your website that your brand is disconnected. So you have one. Whether you're managing it or not is a different story, but everybody has some sort of a brand. And the cool things that we can do when we refresh the websites is really the gloves are off as far as the design. We can really bring bios to the forefront, bring call to action graphics to the forefront. Your personality, your design, your style, your color palette, all of that can come forward. And I'm going to show you a couple more examples of that, but we've got full screens here with prominent property search. Again, the bio coming front and center, giving you a nice welcome. Different call to action graphics. Obviously, one of the best things that you can do, and we didn't talk about this because we talk about it in the advanced or the basic class all the time. These area pages are gold for the search engines. They're gold for your clients. They're gold for your marketing. Bringing those search area pages to the front and center, very, very, very important. So it's one of those things that we can do in the refresh. You notice a lot of these folks are still focusing on bringing people to their mobile app. Of course, you can still feature your listings, bring client testimonials to the front. So it does a great job of bringing your brand front and center. This is one of my favorite ones, and I asked Krista permission to show her website before we got on the call here. She's done an amazing job at capturing her local market, getting her brand front and center. And one of my favorite things that she did here, she created these area pages, these IDX pages for the main areas that she likes to sell in. And we talk all the time about creating niches, and she's done a wonderful job of really directing people that come into her homepage into the communities that potentially would want to live in. So if we click on Aurora, for example, it'll show all the properties in Aurora. Now, Krista did this as what's called an area, or what's called an IDX page. Okay, there's a couple of different ways that you can do property searches, and she set this up, it looks like, as an IDX page. So this is pretty cool. So these are now all of the listings that are available for sale in Aurora. So if you've got areas that you, markets that you kind of niche yourself down into, you can do that with area pages. And bringing those area pages front and center on your home page is huge for getting people into the areas that you want to lead capture. The faster that we can get them to properties, the more likely they are going to become a lead. So this is one of my favorites. It's so beautiful. Very subdued website. This is a Placester website that we've gone in and refreshed. They service Lake Tahoe. And we can see, just strong call to actions here. They're not overwhelming with property search on the home page. They've got this really kind of laid back approach to it. And I think the website is absolutely gorgeous. And you can see, imagine you're going through the office list and you see this site after this site after this site after this site, and finally you get over to this one. It's just incredible. And some of the photography, if you don't have good photography on your site, hire a photographer. Some of this photography is just incredible. So we got great testimonials there, frequently asked questions. And again, this is still powered by Placester. So we've got Stacy Kelly, let's see. This is another one. Really good site that's got, you know, it's just beautiful. You know, it's got nature mixed with the house. Really cool stuff here. And then call to actions, getting people into the different areas of their website. This is all stickiness, folks. Getting people where they want to go is really important. You have just a millisecond to make a first impression when the visitor lands on your website, and getting them into your lead capture mechanisms, really, really important. So this is what we call a refresh. We go in there and we create these designs for you. Folks that really understand UI and UX and interface and visitor activity and the way the eye works and what colors work together, they get it, and they give you the best that they can give you. Sometimes the clients will have a vision in their mind, and it might not necessarily work, and they'll help you understand why, so that your website does what it needs to, and that people actually convert there. You get a unique custom design of your Placester website, which means that we can control the way the website looks and feels. You're not stuck in one of those templates. We'll create the call to action graphic to drive traffic to your lead capture forms, specifically to the different areas that you're trying to target. And yes, these are mobile friendly. That's awesome. So even though we're using you know, the full width of the screen here, when we get down to small mobile devices, it then transitions over to a mobile friendly design. So they just look awesome on all screens, whether it's a wide screen or even as small as your cell phone. And you know, we've done a lot of these. It says North Florida, but we've done a lot of these. The development team will actually take that proof, the design that you came up with the designer, and turn that into code, which basically is programming the website with JavaScript and CSS. And we can even have live chat or other tracking things. I saw someone ask about Facebook pixels. You can't do that in the basic version, but you can if you do a refresh. And the reason is they allow certified partners, which Brandco is, access to the back end, the real code that makes the website work. And they don't want to give that to the average person, because the average person could put stuff on there that could really screw up the whole platform. So they make it some hoops that you have to jump through to be certified in order to know that they've got legitimate people that are working on that. We'll set up your domain name. We'll move any content that you have from eAgency over into Placester. And basically, we've done a ton of these. We've launched over 7,000 KW agent websites. We are the first Placester certified partner. We've been an approved vendor for Keller Williams since 2007. And we're actually the only vendor that's both Placester certified and Keller Williams certified. So we've been working really hard to have good relationships with both of these companies. Just like today, we have these webinars on a regular basis. Tracy's been on the phone or on the call answering some live text questions. Tracy does live webinars every Tuesday. You've got support here and people who really understand how this stuff works. So really good stuff there as far as the team and what you get for that. The way the program works is basically we have our mega camp pricing is out. It's $14.99. You save $300 off of our regular price of $17.99, and you're basically getting a custom website, almost what you would get for, you know, if you were doing a custom WordPress website. We charge $5,000 or more for those, and you get all of that TLC, the design, the attention to detail, the unique look and feel, the coding, all of that stuff done for you. The one-time fee of $14.99. So if you're interested in doing that, we do have a place for you to go, and that's brandco.com/go. You can get more information about that offer, brandco.com/go. You can call into our office, talk to any of the folks there. They'll be happy to help you out. And that's kind of the end of our content here. So I do want to open it up to questions. I did see some coming through here as the chat was going on. And let me pick a couple of these. Tracy, if some of them jump out to you that we should answer live, just let me know there. And let's see. So lots of questions. Please call me. We will be happy to do that. Tracy does schedule appointments. So if you've got some questions and you want someone to, dedicated time on understanding how things do work on your Placester site, give our office a call, ask for Tracy's calendar, and basically what she does is she sets appointments up throughout the day where you can have one-on-one dedicated access to her. She is brilliant with this stuff. So if you have questions for her and you just want a little one-on-one TLC from how to do it side, that would be Tracy. If it's stuff about how to get set up or if you want to take advantage of this offer, you would want to talk to our sales team. A couple other people say, can we set up IDX, another IDX? So let's see. We can't use a third-party IDX on Placester. So your property search is going to be run by Placester. There are a couple of upgrades that they're going to be working on to make the search better. But right now, that is, you're not able to pull a third party in there. And one of the benefits of using this Placester site and not using a third party is that it hooks up to Idx and your whole contact management system. Facebook picture, we talked about the pixel, we talked about that a little bit. That can be done on a refresh, it cannot be done on others. Let's see, how long after a sitemap is submitted should we expect to see better results count? We've had them in as few as 2 or 3 days. We say about a week you should see some change there, but it can be as soon as a couple of days, which is great because you start to see some traction there. Before you submit your sitemap, especially the folks that are planning on doing one of these refreshes, before you submit your sitemap, I want you to have some area pages done, kind of like we talked about Krista's area pages here, where she had, let's see what we got here, Aurora, Castle Pines, whatnot. Well, you want to have those done before you submit that. This is where Google's really going to pay attention to what's going on in your website. If you do it after, it's not the end of the world, but if you've got some time beforehand, certainly you can do that. Will there be a recording of the webinar? Absolutely, we'll send it out to you. What's the difference between IDX pages and area pages? IDX pages are an upgrade, and basically what those are to do is to build some complex searches. So let's say, for example, you want to show only 2 bedrooms in a certain area with a certain criteria and only this. If you want to put 3 or 4 search results together, you would need to use an IDX page. If it's just like, oh, hey, I want to show all the homes in Baldwin Park, like we talked about earlier on that, you can just do an area page for that. So that's a great question. Yes, the recording will be sent out. All right, I think that covers all of the questions here. So I appreciate your time today. I hope that you learned some stuff, some additional kind of advanced techniques on how to make Placester work better for you. We will be exporting this video and getting it on YouTube just as soon as possible. We have a bunch of other videos on our YouTube channel. Please feel free to subscribe there. Lots of 2- and 3-minute little videos so that you can grab some information on the go, maybe listen to us for a couple minutes, pause, and then go do that activity. So please check us out there. And if you have any ideas or topics for next videos, please let us know. And I want to thank you for your time today. I really do appreciate it. Go out there, make your Placester websites the best that they can be, and earn a lot more leads. Thanks, guys.